The story opens in an office where our protagonist is puzzled by the Teto and Egan test at first. His co-worker, Anna, explains that it is a hormone-based personality test that has recently become popular these days. Teto represents a dominant and direct personality, while Egan describes someone more emotional and careful by nature. Taking off his headphones, he asks if it is similar to the MBTI test in concept. We are then introduced to Seonho, a 29-year-old designer at the company. Anna comments that there is a good chance he might be an Egan type after all. Seonho becomes interested because he has never taken the test before, but since they need to complete a design request, he decides he should at least learn about it first. Hearing that, Anna offers to send him the link where she took the test herself. Seonho turns down her offer, saying that he can search for it himself instead. He starts typing on his keyboard and begins reading about the characteristics of Teto men online. They are described as competitive, proactive, ambitious, and highly motivated individuals. They often take charge in group situations and enjoy physical activities such as weight training and ball sports as well. After reading the description, Seonho quickly realizes that he is definitely not a Teto type at all. Just then, his curiosity grows when he discovers a compatibility chart claiming that Teto men are not attracted to Teto women, but instead prefer Egan women instead. Teto women are supposedly attracted to Teto men while having little interest in Egan men at all. Egan men are attracted to Teto women, but are not interested in Egan women, while Egan women are attracted to Egan men, but dislike Teto men in return. Seonho realizes that, according to this strange theory, he should be attracted to Teto women instead. A Teto woman is described as confident, outspoken, and never afraid to express her opinions openly. She is also highly ambitious about her career and success, while favoring a trendy yet bold fashion style as well. Meanwhile, Seonho does not even have a woman around him, so he wonders how he could possibly know what a Teto woman is supposed to look like in person. At that moment, Anna teasingly asks whether he is an Egan man himself. Seonho instinctively shivers and moves away from her, explaining that he has not taken the test yet and is only reading about the different traits for now. Anna sighs and immediately points out that he was actually checking the compatibility chart just now. She jokes that he already seems completely invested in the theory somehow. Seonho quickly denies being interested in it at all. From the way Anna behaves, it seems possible that she herself is an Egan woman after all. When she moves closer to Seonho, he instinctively backs away, and according to the chart, Egan women are supposedly attracted to Egan men, while Egan men are not attracted to Egan women either. Anyway, Seonho tells Anna that he can somewhat understand what an Egan woman is like, but he still cannot picture a Teto woman in his mind clearly. Anna then reveals that there happens to be a Teto woman nearby right now. She points toward a short-haired woman standing not far away from them. Her name is Choi Hyzeon, and she is the team leader of the product planning department at their company. Seonho stares at Hyzeon with his mouth slightly open, immediately realizing that she fits the description of a Teto woman perfectly. With complete confidence, Hyzeon orders Jingyu to check the inventory for the special promotional products scheduled for next week immediately. She then tells Jeongsu to go to the marketing department and instruct them to use the page they had previously provided to them. Watching her take command so naturally, Seonho becomes fascinated by her presence at once. She is only 1 or 2 years older than him, yet she is already the youngest team leader in the company, and he cannot deny that she is extremely attractive as well. Suddenly, Hyzeon notices him staring and quickly ducks beneath his desk in embarrassment. Confused, she calls out his name right away. With nowhere left to hide, Seonho awkwardly reveals himself from beneath. She asks whether he has received the design request she sent earlier that day. Then she gives him a quick wink and tells him that she needs it finished as soon as possible for the project. Seonho agrees, while privately thinking about how bold, direct, and uninhibited she is as a person. To him, she is an incredibly cool woman indeed. Later, Seonho is seen filling a cup with tea at his desk. As he walks past a nearby room, a loud voice suddenly catches his attention and startles him from behind. Inside, he sees Hyzeon angrily scolding an employee for not knowing about Teto and Egan at all. The confused employee asks what those terms are supposed to mean exactly. Hyzeon explains that they refer to testosterone, the male hormone in question. She says that the concept is currently popular among people in their 20s and 30s, which happens to be the main target demographic for their upcoming special exhibition as well. The man scratches his head, wondering why hormone-related terms have suddenly become such a trend these days. He comments that he remembers seeing an advertisement where estrogen was mentioned in connection with menopause medicine before. Hysian immediately becomes furious, and the man quickly gives in, saying that he understands the situation. He admits that if team leader Choi says it is true, then it must be true, and they will follow her proposed plan without question. Hearing this, Hysian becomes excited, while the man comments that she has impressive adaptability and jokes that it must be because she still has such a youthful spirit left. Hysian instantly gets angry again and orders him to stop talking about that. After witnessing the entire exchange, Seonho finally understands what a Teto woman is really like in practice. She is the complete opposite of him, someone who confidently takes action and does exactly what needs to be done instead of simply following instructions from others. Hysian then tells her colleague that she will treat everyone to something that day, and the man immediately perks up, saying that he will choose something expensive for himself. The two of them leave the room together while Seonho walks away, thinking that Hysian lives in an entirely different world from his own completely. Even if he puts his attraction aside, he cannot imagine there being any chance that the two of them would ever become involved with each other in reality. Later that night, a traffic light shines red against the quiet street, even though there are no vehicles passing through the road at that late hour anywhere nearby. Seonho walked up to his apartment and unlocked the door. Just then, a cute, fluffy ear fluttered as Bro entered with a bright smile, calling out to his pet Mansu. The cat meowed, and Bro instantly cuddled the fluff ball, asking whether it had missed Daddy. He then gave it some catnip as a treat, saying he was late today and that this was his peace offering. Then he flopped onto the beanbag, feeling completely exhausted, as this was the first time in a while that he had worked overtime. He remembered Hysen reminding him to finish the work as soon as possible. Thanks to that woman, his streak of leaving exactly on time had finally been broken. Seonho still had to finish the game he failed to beat yesterday. He also needed to grind the new season of Demon Slayer. But the overtime had completely wiped out all his plans. Just then, he perked up when his cat began gesturing for him to open the curtain. Seonho did so, apologizing that Mansu had not even gotten to look out the window all day. However, if he left the curtain open while he was away, the apartment unit right beside his could see everything inside his room. The distance between the buildings was far too close. Then he spotted a hot chick exercising in yoga pants. He lamented that the moment he opened the blinds, he had to see something this indecent. Just then, his eyes widened as he recognized the woman. The sweaty chick was none other than Hysen. She was doing all sorts of provocative yoga poses. Suddenly, she noticed the eyes watching her, but when we see the window, only the cat was there, waving at her. Feeling slightly embarrassed, she commented that the kitty was so cute and waved back at it. Meanwhile, Bro was lying on the floor, shaken by how close he had come to getting caught. He could not understand what was going on. Hysen lived right across from his apartment. Seonho was sure that someone else had been living there just a short while ago. His first thought was to close the curtains. But suddenly, the cat stopped him. Seonho shouted at the cat to move its paw away, but the fluff ball only became more aggressive and kept trying to open the curtain. Meanwhile, Hysen noticed the strange commotion. Sweating nervously, Seonho begged his cat to move. The little fluff ball became pissed at this fellow for not allowing it to stare at the hot chick. It then jumped, unleashing its claws as its predatory instincts kicked in. It pounced onto his face and began showing him who the real boss of the house was. Meanwhile, Hysen was startled when she saw a creepy man getting pounded by the cute fluff ball. Seonho's eyes met hers, and he desperately reached his hand toward the window before finally managing to close the curtains. Hysen simply stood there, stunned. Meanwhile, we see Seonho lying on the floor. The cute fluff ball finally jumped off his face, and Bro became uneasy, wondering whether Hysen had seen him. He remembered seeing her sweaty yoga body and now feared that she might misinterpret the situation and think he had been peeking at her. He became stressed and muttered, I did look, even though it wasn't on purpose. If she misunderstands, it's totally understandable why she'd be upset, right? But no, her being upset was not the real problem. What if a bad rumor spread around the company? Seonho then became terrified that his colleagues would think of him as a creepy, disgusting, awful, absolute pervert. His life now felt completely over. But then he became curious. Why was Hysen living in a place like this? There were no real perks to living here other than being close to the office. Why would someone with such a high salary live here? He had heard that people with money usually lived in the new city district about 20 minutes away, or they lived far away with their parents, like many people their age. Seonho remembered his colleagues feeling jealous of him for living so close to the company. Seonho sighed, saying that saving commute time and avoiding running into coworkers had been the best part of living here. Now, he even had to be careful whenever he went out on weekends, didn't he? Meanwhile, we see the little fluff ball peacefully grooming its fur. But its peace was disturbed when Bro hugged it tightly and asked whether they should move houses. The poor fluffball could only meow in frustration. The scene then shifted to the next day. At the company, we see Seonho looking exhausted. He had not gotten a single wink of sleep in the end. Leaving home at 6 a.m. just to avoid running into Hyson was already exhausting. He lamented whether he would have to keep living like this from now on. Right then, Anna approached, surprised to see him there so early. Seonho wearily greeted her, and Anna commented that his dark circles were no joke, asking whether he had stayed up gaming again. He denied it. Anna then revealed that their platform was having a cat tower promotion next week, so he should grab one with his employee discount. Seonho then asked whether they had any blackout curtain promotions. Confused, she asked why he was suddenly asking about that. She then decided to take a few copies of the promotion list. Just then, Seonho heard Anna greeting Hyson. Hyson greeted her back, and as usual, she was wearing a stunning outfit. Her high heels elevated her aura with every step she took. Meanwhile, Seonho was feeling uneasy. Hyson asked her colleague whether he had watched the baseball game yesterday, mentioning that his team had lost 5 times without winning a single match. He revealed that he was planning to quit watching baseball altogether. Hyson cheekily told him to switch to her team instead. Dude held back his irritation and turned down the offer. Seeing their interaction, Seonho noted that Hyson seemed to be in a good mood. He guessed that she really had not recognized him yesterday, meaning he had been worried for nothing. Just then, Hyson noticed him staring. Bro simply stayed still like a fool, but to his shock, her expression suddenly changed into a hostile one. She turned her head in a way that made her glare seem even more intimidating. Seonho was stunned, unable to understand why she had given him such an icy look. He began crashing out, wondering if she had actually recognized him. How was he going to explain himself now? She might have already gotten the wrong idea. Meanwhile, Hyson tied her hair and approached his desk. He had no idea what was about to happen. She slammed her hand onto the desk, startling him out of his thoughts. She firmly called out his name, and he anxiously stuttered. She stared down at him for a moment and asked whether he had a minute. Feeling terrified, he asked why. She crossed her arms and said that she had something very important to discuss with him. Seeing her behavior, Seonho remembered the traits of a Taito girl. They were assertive and never hesitated to speak their minds. Seonho began trembling in fear, believing that the time had finally come to face the consequences. She then moved closer, but instead of confronting him, she completely changed the question. Seonho looked confused when she cheerfully asked whether they should grab lunch together. Later, they arrived at a kimbap restaurant. Various dishes were ordered, and Hyson exclaimed that everything was delicious and that she was starving. Meanwhile, Bro wondered what was going on. He had been dragged into this so suddenly. Hyson picked up her spoon and thanked him for the meal before telling him to eat up. Seonho could not believe that he was having lunch alone with Hyson. She ate with a hearty appetite, surprising him with how much she could eat. It made sense, considering how hard she worked out after work. Seonho becomes flustered as he's thinking of her sweaty workout body from earlier. Noticing him space out, she asks whether he's not going to eat his meal. He quickly snapped out of it and began eating again at once. Then the most important question popped in his mind once more. Did she recognize him yesterday or not? He's so anxious that he can barely swallow another bite. Meanwhile, Hyson enjoys the fullest of her meal. He then hesitantly asks why did she want to meet him for lunch. She replies that he might get indigestion if he heard it while he's still eating his food. Hearing this, Bro began sweating bullets, as he's sure that it's about yesterday's incident after all. However, he can't really read her at all right now. Hyson then asks whether he's not done eating, and he affirmed with a nod. She tells him to take his time and that she'll wait right there. He thanked her and began eating once again. Then he looked up at her and shivered as she was staring at him so intently. He's hella anxious at this point. If she keeps staring at him like that, he will really get indigestion for sure. He doesn't think he can take another bite of food. So he placed the chopsticks down and ended the mealtime right there. She stood up and asked whether they should go for a walk since he's done with eating. He agreed to it without protest. Now in the busy street, we see them both walking together while drinking a cup of tea from the cafe. She asked whether he said he majored in arts, and he affirmed with a nod. She curiously asks whether it's in design or something similar. However, he says no, and that he majored in comics instead of design. Hyson instantly lit up with excitement on her face, exclaiming that she loves comics. She suggests having their first brainstorming session at a comic cafe nearby sometime. In confusion, he asked what she means by our first session together. Hyson stopped walking and stood there in silence for a moment. A smirk creeped onto her face, and she revealed that it's for the Content TF team at work. Seonho processed for a moment, and then it hit him all at once. In a tired tone, he asks, why would he be on that team in the first place? She excitedly shouts, actually, orders came down from the top management team. They want us to handle product marketing ourselves using social media from now on. Seonho then asks, isn't that the marketing team's job instead of ours? Hyson sheepishly admits that it's true, but those guys are a bit too old school for this trend. Seonho remembered the colleague who had no clue about Teto and Aegon, and he realized she kind of has a point about them. She then gestures saying, since we source and curate everything ourselves, don't you think we know the products best of all? Anyway, they told us to take charge and give it a try for now. Meanwhile, Seonho gets a feeling that she already volunteered them for it without asking permission from him first. Hyson began suggesting that they start with an Insta-tune for now, and if it goes well, they can even do YouTube videos later on. She asks what he thinks, and doesn't it sound fun to her? Seonho bit his cup, frustrated that this was the reason she asked him for lunch in the first place. He inwardly cries, Hyson is a notorious workaholic throughout the entire company after all. I was relatively safe since I was only dispatched from the design team, but if I get directly involved with her, my days of leaving on time are over for good. Who's gonna feed my Mansa back home? She's tough to say no to, but I have to speak my mind this time. He then adjusted his glasses and tried to reject it, but she chimed in saying he's in the team. With a cute pleading expression, she looked at him and said again that he's in for sure. Bro couldn't resist her adorable behavior at all. How could he break the heart of this chick when she's looking like this right now? So obviously, he caved in and agreed to her demands in the end. Meanwhile, we see both their cups side by side. Seonho's cup was roughed up by his anxious behavior, while Hyson's cup was perfect, with only her lipstick staining it at the rim. This subtly signifies that Seonho is a Aegean, while Hyson is a Tito by contrast. Anyway, the scene now shifted to later that evening. It was night already, and the city light made the view look serene and quiet. We see Seonho standing alone in the crosswalk, waiting for the signal to turn green in front of him. He was lost in thought, thinking that, luckily, it wasn't what he was worried about after all. But in the long run, this is a much bigger disaster for him. Suddenly they are neighbors, and now they are on a TF team together too, that he sighs that this is really bad for him. Just then Hyson popped up, asking what's really bad about it. Bro was startled and exclaimed her name in surprise that he asks wasn't she heading out for an external meeting earlier that evening. She reveals that it got cancelled just now. Anyway, she inquires about his frustration, asking what he meant by that comment. He quickly bowed, saying it's nothing, and bid her goodbye and began running the other way at once. But then she grabbed his arm, halting his escape from her. He turned towards her and she with a smile says, let's go together from here. After all, we live in the same direction anyway from here. Seonho froze, thinking she knew everything already. He doesn't understand why she didn't show it all day long. She then let go of his arm and asked why he looked so surprised by her. Seonho desperately tries to find a proper excuse on the spot. He thinks about just apologizing, but then he shot that down, as he doesn't have anything to apologize for anyway right now. After all, apologizing for no reason might make her misunderstand even more about him. Hyson then comments that she guesses he didn't see her earlier. Hearing this vague statement, he goes to confess that he actually saw her yesterday. But before he could say anything, she comments that if he had seen her, he would have said hi to her. Hearing this, Seonho thinks that she already knows that he watched her yesterday, and now she's just acting like nothing happened at all. She really is built completely different from him in every way. He got all worried and scared for nothing this whole time. However, his thoughts are all shut down, as Hyson revealed that whenever she sees him walking, he's always in such a rush, and he's always wearing a headset on his head. Hearing this, Seonho thinks that maybe she actually did not see him yesterday after all. Hyson then says, "As long as you weren't ignoring me because I make you uncomfortable, it's fine with me." Seonho is now sure that she didn't see him in the window yesterday. She probably saw him on his way home from work instead. Bro just gives her a blank look, and she feels hurt, asking what's with that look on his face. Did he actually ignore her on purpose all this time? Seonho quickly denies it, saying he would never do that to her on purpose. She then turned away, saying, "It's good to hear that. I guess we can just walk together from now on then after work." She then turned with a bright smile, that they can walk home together from now on. Seonho blushed at her beauty and agreed to it with a nod. Hyson then tells him to hold on a second, and took her Samsung S25 out of her handbag and went through the messages on her phone. Then she face-bombed in frustration, muttering that she needs to head back to the office right now. Seonho is surprised, asking, "Is she going back at this hour of the night?" She replies that it's a bummer, but tells him that they should go home together next time for sure. She then waved at him, saying, "Get home safe, Seonho." He just stood there with a blush, simply saying okay to her. He feels relieved that they don't need to walk home together today, but at the same time he's kind of bummed out about it. The scene now shifted to later that night. In his apartment, we see the fluffball sleeping peacefully, while Seonho has gotten ready for bed already. He sighed, muttering that today was incredibly exhausting for him. But still, he feels like he saw a new side of Hyson today at last. She always seemed so intimidating to approach, but being alone with her felt different somehow than expected. He then got up and opened the curtain, and noticed that Hyson is missing from her window. He thinks that she still hasn't left work yet. He feels like he's getting worried about her for no reason at all. Then Bro crashed out, saying, "Wait a minute, if I officially start working on this team with Hyson, that's exactly what my life will look like, isn't it from now on? I'll be away from home way longer than I am now each day." Seonho then stared at his fluffball, realizing he will have to leave such a cute little guy all alone at home. Then he cuddled the poor fellow, determined to tell Hyson that he can't do it after all. If he's completely honest with her, maybe she will understand him. But then he imagined her coldly saying, "You want to take back your acceptance? How dare you? Do you want me to show you what real hell looks like around here?" Now Bro becomes terrified, realizing it's hopeless for him. He wonders whether changing jobs is really the only answer left for him. The scene now shifted to the next day at the office. As he entered his workplace, he noticed Anna slumped on a nearby cabinet looking defeated. She was completely devastated at this point. As he called out her name, she glared at him viciously from there. She shouted at him, saying, "Seonho, is it true? It's not true, right at all." Bro in confusion asks what she's talking about this time. She hits him, repeatedly calling him an idiot over and over. He genuinely doesn't understand what's going on and asks her again in confusion. She replies that they are doomed and pointed to her side with concern. Then, as he glanced to the side, he saw a woman humming to a song while arranging a desk nearby. He wonders what's going on, as a whole new extra desk is there now beside him. The woman, with a smirk, was delighted that he's arrived at last. Then she excitedly said "Tada," and showed off her arrangement with pride. It was none other than Hyson, who had linked their tables together right beside his. She explains that since they are on the same team now, she moved it right next to him for convenience. Now Seonho inwardly explains, Hyson is the team leader of the product planning team at their company. Anna and I belong to the design team at work. Since we were exclusively handling design results from the product planning team as of a little while ago, Anna and I ended up sitting together with the product planning team for convenience. Because of that, rather than our own team leader, it often felt like Hyson was my direct team leader back then. Even so, we were still technically on different teams, so there was a certain line drawn, but that line is being erased right here, right now before me. Hyson then sat saying, "I'm going to work from here on days we do TF team stuff together. It's a hassle for both of us if I have to keep going back and forth, and communicating over Messenger has its limits after all." Meanwhile, Seonho realizes he's screwed, just in the exact opposite way from what he was worried about before. Later she comes up with a plan for their project. Rather than making it feel like a blatant advertisement, they need something that firmly imprints the product's value in the customer's minds from the start. Meanwhile, Bro thinks, That sounds like telling someone to lose weight without going on a diet at all. Hyzian jots down, saying that the format is important, but videos take up too many resources, and just slapping some text over product photos is way too cliché for customers. She then suggests an ActionToon as the format. It would be efficient, since Seonho said he majored in comics back then. This made Seonho remember a woman from his past. She said to him, "I'm anxious enough as it is. I don't want to spend my life worrying about the future too much anymore. I'll support your dreams. I'm sorry for everything." This memory haunted him, and he tells Hyzian that he doesn't really want to draw comics anymore. This made her speechless, and the atmosphere turned awkward between them. Seonho then realized that his true feelings accidentally slipped out, so he quickly tells her that since graduation he only did design work, so he's not very confident with comics anymore. However, she held his shoulder, saying, "You already have a lot on your plate, Seonho, so making you draw an ActionToon is a bit much for now. Let's hire an illustrator instead. Instead, stay right by my side and support me closely, just like you are now at work." Seonho then awkwardly smiled, saying he understood what she meant. Meanwhile, he feels glad he doesn't have to draw comics himself. Hyzian now comments that even if they hire an artist to draw the ActionToon, they still need to provide them with a storyboard on the promotional content first. She then began drawing what she thought this morning from her idea. Once done, she excitedly showed it to Seonho, asking what does he think of it so far. The drawing was so bad that even the narrator couldn't describe what's going on in it. Seonho then asks what she had drawn, and she frowned, questioning whether he can't tell it, and demands him to stop messing around with her. However, Seonho replies that he genuinely can't describe it at all. Hyzian doesn't understand, stating that this doesn't make any sense to her. She even won an award at an art contest when she was little as a child. Meanwhile, Bro thinks that winning an award with those skills makes even less sense to him. He then began drawing, advising her that since it's just a storyboard anyway, rather than trying to draw every detail, it's better to just highlight the important information for clarity. Then he showed her his drawing with confidence. The humor could be clearly seen, that many cat owners buy expensive cat trees, beds, or toys, and their cats often ignore them completely at home. So when the cat finally sits on the cat tree, the owner is surprised and impressed by the sight. Seeing this drawing, Hyzian comments that it's incredible, and asks how did he whip that up so fast from nothing. She laments, saying it would be nice if I could draw as well as you do too. It would cut down on misunderstandings and errors when trying to convey ideas to others. Hearing this, Seonho inwardly admits that it's true in practice. Even if you say the exact same thing, people often picture entirely different things in their minds. For example, if you told someone to draw some pretty sunglasses, they would probably draw a different style from which you wanted in the end. Hyzian now asks whether he could draw at least the storyboard today for them. He reluctantly agrees, thinking it's only for today anyway. Just then he heard a woman coughing behind him. It was Anna, signaling him to look at her with a gesture. Later they find a secluded area and chat alone for a moment. Seonho had explained what had happened, and Anna was pissed that he caved in for a measly single lunch with Hyzian. Seonho replies that he didn't have any way to refuse her request. Anna points out that they are in the design team, and now she just dragged him into her TF team without warning. Seonho remarks that maybe Hyzian is already aligned with their team leader about this. Anna cries that it's too much for Hyzian to sit next to him every day. Seonho in confusion replies, "I'm the one sitting right next to her instead. How do you think I feel about this?" Anna comments that for someone who feels that way, the atmosphere between the two seemed pretty friendly to her. Hearing this, he blushed while inwardly saying, "I was just relieved that she didn't misunderstand the situation at the apartment yesterday. But did we actually look like we were getting along to everyone else too?" Anna then with a resigned look asks, "Is it true that Aegon guys can't help but be attracted to Tito girls like that?" Seonho quickly denies it, telling her to not make up stuff like that. She then firmly gestures saying, "Anyway, just promise me one thing right now. Make sure absolutely none of that TF team work trickles down to me at all. Absolute no matter what." Seonho then asks whether she really thinks Hyzian will go that far with them. Anna replies, "Have you forgotten what happened? The whole reason we moved to these desks started out as a temporary support request for an urgent project in the first place. Just like that, she might sneakily drag me into the TF team too without warning. Or maybe she'll just absorb both of us into her team while she's at it as well. Hearing all this, Seonho just replies that he'll do his best to make sure that doesn't happen to them. Now as he walks back to his desk, he feels like he's caught in the middle of these two women at work. Not only does he have to walk on eggshells around Hyzeon, now he has to worry about Anna too at the same time. Meanwhile, the other colleague thanks Seonho, telling him to keep the team leader busy for a long time over there. Bro realizes that they say it as a joke, but there is a hidden meaning behind those words as well. Getting involved in this was definitely a mistake for him. Meanwhile, Hyzeon throws a tantrum on why she can't draw like him at all. She feels like she copied it exactly, so why doesn't it look the same to her? Seonho then checked the drawing and wondered what powder she's sniffing to think this is the same as his art right now. Frustrated, Hyzeon says, "This isn't going to work at all, we need drastic measures from here, you're going to teach me how to draw properly." Seonho asks, does she seriously want him to teach right now during work? She says no, as they obviously can't do it during work hours at the office. Seonho quickly says that he has plans after work today. Then she suggests, how about tomorrow instead? Seonho asks, "Isn't that Saturday tomorrow?" She with a smile replies that she knows very well. This made his mind spiral once again. He wonders why does she keep doing these stuff to him? Is there a chance that she really had fallen for him after all? The scene now shifted to the next day on Saturday. It was Saturday, and as usual, the city was bustling with couples everywhere. Seonho stood there, realizing he had actually came here now for her. He starts freaking out, meeting a coworker and a female team leader at that, alone on a weekend together. He keeps getting roped into doing things he would never normally do whenever Hyzeon asks him to. But now bro wonders whether she really wants to learn how to draw with him. Or maybe this could be a date after all. He then shakes his head, saying no way at all. There's no way Hyzeon would want to go on a date with someone like me in the first place. Stop getting the wrong idea about this. Don't get ahead of yourself again. A woman like Hyzeon must be really popular with guys out there. Except with the guys at work around her. And according to that food chain, there is zero reason for a Teto girl like Hyzeon to be romantically attracted to me at all. It literally said, not attracted on the chart, didn't it right there? Let's not get my hopes up for nothing this time. Just then, he heard Hyzeon's voice calling out to him from behind. He turned around and saw her boots coming into view, as she remarked that he was early for once. She had planned to arrive first and wait for him there. Seonho was captivated by her beauty, as she tilted her head sweetly and asked how long he had been waiting for her. Folks, she really does look like Reese from Chainsaw Man right now. Seonho stutters that he just got here a moment ago. She smiled that it's a relief to hear. As he stood there frozen, she asked whether he's ready to teach her today. With a smile, she called him Teacher Seonho. Blushing hella hard, he could only mutter the word, yes in response. Meanwhile, he inwardly thinks that he's really an Egan guy, because he keeps finding Hyzeon pretty every time. The scene now shifted to the cafe nearby. Hyzeon showed her drawing, stating she drew a happy face for practice. Seonho sarcastically comments that it looks really awesome to him. Hyzeon slammed her head into feet, lamenting she tried her best, but she just have no talent for this at all. Seonho comforts her by saying she's definitely improving already. He then says, since we decided to focus on just conveying our thoughts anyway, let's relax our hands and try drawing it a bit simpler, shall we for now? Hyzeon agreed with a sigh of resignation. Then she fired up with determination, shouting that she can do it this time. Seonho wishes her good luck with a smile, and now the artist gave us a closer look at her lips, as she began drawing peacefully in silence. Meanwhile, Seonho stared at her, completely distracted by her beauty once again. Just then she noticed him staring, and asked whether there's something on her face right now. Startled, he quickly says no at all. Seonho then drew a simple, happy face, and demonstrated the method for her. She got closer and remarked that it's cute and simple. Meanwhile, bro inwardly spirals, saying, come to think of it, just a little while ago I was worried she'd think I was peeping on her, and now I'm looking right at her face to face like this. She then called his name, and he was startled again by her voice. As she tried drawing, she asks what does he want to eat later. Seonho replies he's fine with anything, and asks about her preference. She leaned closer, saying she just need one condition met first. He hesitantly asks about it, and she with a grin revealed that it's beer for tonight. And so the scenes shifted to a bar, where they both clinked their glasses together. As Hyzeon drank the beer, she felt super refreshed at once. She exclaims that she feels alive again, and thanks Seonho for teaching her how to draw and drinking beer with her tonight. He shrugs it off as no big deal, pointing out that she listened to his request too in return. Hearing this, Hyzeon remembered what Seonho had requested earlier. He had given a deal where, in exchange of teaching her on how to draw, she should make sure Anna doesn't get dragged into the TF team at all. Now Hyzeon asks whether he's close with Anna at work. He replies that they simply joined the company at the same time, and since they worked right next to each other for so long, they kind of look close to others. Hyzeon's expression now changed, as if feeling slightly jealous of Anna. She then refilled her glass, saying, "Well, since I'm sitting next to you now, I guess we'll get close too, right from now on?" Seonho hesitated, not knowing what he's supposed to say to that. She then asks, isn't there anything he's curious about her personally? He looks confused, and she explains that she'll answer anything as a reward for teaching her how to draw today. Seonho inwardly thinks that he's curious about the real reason she dragged him into the TF team, but more than that, there's something bothering him right now. He then asks her, since when did you know that we head home in the same direction together? She asks whether is that what he's really curious about the most. He's confused, and she cheekily says, we are heading together later anyway after this. You'll find out then, won't you for yourself? This made him sweat hella hard, as they are not going separately tonight. She then says, more importantly, isn't it a bit weird to keep being so formal with each other on a weekend when we're not even at work together? How about we call each other something different just for our drawing lessons from now on instead? Seonho anxiously gulped, asking about it with hesitation. She calls him Teacher Seonho and asks what does he think about that. He awkwardly says that being called a teacher is a bit too much pressure for him. She then brainstormed and asked him to lean closer toward her. She whispered to his ear, suggesting they call each other hey from now on. She asks whether he doesn't like it that way. Seonho's hands trembled as he inwardly says, what does this mean right now? We're meeting alone on a weekend, drinking together, and she's even dropping the formalities between us? If we are at the point where we can say hey to each other, that's different from just being acquaintances at work. Does that mean we are becoming something more than that? What should I say to her? I don't even know anymore what to think. Now Seonho blurts out that he likes it that way. However, right when he said it, she said she was joking with him. Now the atmosphere becomes awkward between them. She teases him that he said he liked it so much. In embarrassment, he stutters that he didn't mean it that way and hastily drank the beer in his glass. Once it's empty, he says to her, I think it's fine if you speak casually with me, Ms. Hyzeon, from now on. After all, you're higher up in the company than I am, and you're older than me too. However, her expression turned cold as she asked whether she looks older than him to him. Seonho now realized he made a huge mistake just then. She's his team leader, so he naturally assumed she was older than him. He starts yapping that she's the team leader, so he naturally thought that in the first place. Then he switched up, saying she has better expertise in her work and behaves composed at all times. He now realizes he's worsening the situation even more. He then ends it saying she's in a higher position at work. Hearing this, she laughs that he's so funny sometimes. Seonho stayed frozen as she kept laughing beside him. Then she composed herself, asking whether she makes him uncomfortable around her. He stutters, not exactly like that. Hearing this vague answer, she comments that he must have been uncomfortable seeing how he can't answer right away like this. He nervously replies again that he didn't mean that at all. She then grins saying, I'm kidding with you. Just kidding this time. Anyway, you're saying I'm good at my job, right after all? Thanks for seeing me that way at least. She then lifted her glass, suggesting they finish their drinks together. After that, they began walking towards their home through the streets. She comments that the breeze is nice, and she feels a little tipsy from the beer. Seeing him just stay silent, she asks whether she's the only one enjoying this right now. He quickly says no, and that he likes it too very much. Then he looked around thinking that it's the weekend, so they probably won't bump into anyone from work around here. But he's still a bit worried about it anyway. He thinks that Hyzeon might be worried too about them. But then we see her ogling at a Dubai Chewy cookie in a shop window. She laments that it's sold out and that she wants to try some so badly. Seeing this, he inwardly says, I was worrying over nothing the whole time. This is just an extension of work after all. So it's weirder to worry about our surroundings like this. She then suddenly comments that he has a cat at home. Seonho froze, asking how she knew about that. She explains that she overheard him talking with Miss Anna about the Cat Tower event a while ago at work. The task force is actually planning to handle the social media marketing for that project. She then quickly apologizes for bringing up work again on their day off. He says it's fine and tells her to continue what she was saying. So she continued saying, "We are short on time, so we are going to use product photos to make something like a carousel post for social media. But I think it would be nice to include at least one cat as a design element in there. Otherwise, you'll have to teach me how to draw cats well by next week at least." Seonho bluntly replies that it's impossible for him. He scratched his head, saying he'll handle it, as it's not hard to do. Hearing this, she says, "You always seem so passive with me. But you never say no to my requests, Mr. Seonho at all. Not only that, but you are also meticulous with your work. For example, you follow our team's file naming convention without even being told to do so. It's rare to find someone who actually sticks to basics like that. So that's why I wanted you on the task force with me in the first place." Seonho becomes touched and thanks her for thinking highly of him like that. Later, as they kept walking, Hyezian suddenly pointed out a spot nearby. It was a bridge for crossing the road. She explains that she always loses track of him there somehow. Whenever she spot him on the stairs and try to follow him, he always walks too fast, so she can never catch up with him. Then she pointed to a cake shop, stating that he disappears behind that building. She reveals that she also lives right behind there as well. So that's when she realized they lived in the same area together. Hearing this, Seonho thinks that she didn't recognize him earlier in the balcony after all. She then began walking up the stairs, saying, "I saw you shortly after I moved in 2 weeks ago already. So I was really glad to see you back then. And now we are finally walking together like this today. Shall we head up now together?" This made Seonho panic, because if they keep walking like this, he will get caught that he lived right next to her unit as well. Hyezian suddenly stopped, and he ran towards her, giving an excuse that he remembered something and needs to go and buy right now at the store. However, he noticed someone else nearby. A woman was standing frozen upon seeing them together. It was Anna standing there. Hyezian and Seonho were caught walking together, and the atmosphere turned suffocating, as Anna asked what's going on here right now. She tries to play it cool by saying she didn't expect to see them here together. Seonho panics on what to do about this situation. She might misunderstand them as dating or something. He then asks what brings her here today. Anna held up a bag, revealing that she dropped by to pick up some dujunggu, because that dessert shop is famous around here. Seonho realizes it's the Dubai chocolate sold by Momo Cake nearby. He quickly shouts that they too came here. He turned to Hyezian and says, "We ran into each other right under the overpass while we were on our way to buy some, right? Ms. Hyezian, isn't that right?" However, she looked shocked for a moment. She then played along, saying, "Yes, that's right indeed. We met by chance just now. I heard the dujunggu there is really famous these days." Hearing this, Anna says, "Oh, what a shame for you. It's reservation only these days. So, you won't be able to buy any if you didn't book in advance. I barely managed to get a reservation myself yesterday for today." Seonho awkwardly replies, "I see about that. What should we do now?" Meanwhile, Hyezian's expression was strange, as if she was feeling hurt by something. She then composed herself, saying, "Mr. Seonho, didn't you say you had somewhere else to drop by earlier today?" Seonho hesitantly affirmed with a nod. Then with a fake smile, she say he should go take care of that, and that she will reserve some dujunggu for him as well later. She then bid them goodbye and ran, leaving him alone with Anna, who wishes her a safe trip home. Later at the bus stop, Anna was accompanied by Seonho as they waited. She comments that dujunggu is really popular these days, and to think someone like Ms. Hyezian would come all the way here on a weekend is surprising to her. However, Anna remembered something and shouted that she must have come here to do market research for work. Hearing Anna say these things, Seonho feels relieved that this situation actually helped him avoid Hyezian from knowing he lives right next to her unit. Meanwhile, Anna admits that when she saw them together, she thought they were dating for a second at first. Bro got startled and tried to play it off by asking how can that be possible. However, Anna kept pushing that it seems suspicious for them to meet up on a weekend just to buy Dubai chocolate together. Seonho anxiously insists that he's telling the truth this time. They just bumped into each other by chance. Anna got closer, commenting that he's getting flustered, which makes it even more suspicious to her. She asks, is it really a date between them? Seonho began thinking about it for a moment. They had a drawing session in a cafe and later drank beer together at a bar. Everything they did today was literally a date in every sense. Meanwhile, Anna teased him saying, "Oh my, look how red your face is, Mr. Sianho, right now." Bro cries that they really met by chance for real. Anna chuckles that she was just teasing, as his reaction are funny to watch. Just then an announcement played out that the bus is arriving shortly at the stop. Hearing this, Anna says the bus is already here. What a shame though. By the way, what do you think of our Tito girl, Ms. Hyesian, so far? Sianho ponders that Hyesian was actually cute in his eyes. However, he doesn't say that out loud. He says to Anna that she's just his boss at work. Hearing this, Anna sighs that it's a relief to hear. This confused him a little. She stood up saying, "I thought you might have gotten closer to her than to me in that short amount of time together. I was worried the food chain we saw back then might have kicked in already. You're an Aegean guy, Mr. Sianho, after all. And Ms. Hyesian is a Tito girl according to that chart. So you might be drawn to her, to Ms. Hyesian, because of that. I guess I just felt a little petty about it." This caught him off guard completely. The bus then arrived and finally parked in the halt at the stop. Anna quickly took his hand and placed an item, revealing that it's a reward for waiting for the bus with her this evening. With a gentle smile, she says it's a precious gift, so he should not give it to anyone else at all. Then as she left in the bus, Sianho stared at the item, as it was the chocolate Hyesian was craving for earlier. The scene now shifted to later that night. At home, his fluffball was peacefully sleeping on the bed. On the table was the dejunku from Anna. He stared at it, as it indeed looked precious in his hands. However, he remembered Anna admitting that she felt a little petty about everything. He now wonders what that means exactly. Just then he received a message from Hyesian, asking whether he got home safe tonight. And what about Ms. Anna as well? He replied that Ms. Anna left safely as well on the bus. Meanwhile, we see that Hyesian had saved his number as Mr. Handsome on her phone. He had sent her a message, asking whether she got home safe too after their outing. She turned her gaze towards the unit beside her own apartment. The curtains were covering the windows next door. Just as Sianho was about to eat the chocolate, his phone pinged once more. She sent a message saying, "By the way, what does dejunka taste like that has everyone going so crazy over it? Is it that good really? Now I'm curious about it. I want to eat some too as well." This made him feel guilty toward her. He stared at the chocolate for a while, and then sent her a message revealing that he's about to try some right now at home. This surprised her a lot, and she crashed out, asking whether he's eating alone, and that she also wants to eat some with him too. Bro was startled to see her wanting to eat with him that night. He had sent her a message asking how that would work. She smirked and replies that they live close to each other, so she could come over to his place right now. With a blush, Sianho stared at his window in shock. He trembled that she really wants to meet up at this hour of the night. He remembered her lamenting that she really wanted to try dejunko earlier today. However, it was sold out at the shop. Now he stared at the chocolate and then began typing, asking where should they meet tonight. But before he could click send, she sent a message that she was just kidding with him. She laughed that she can already imagine the look on his face right now. Bro fell to his knees, feeling as if his heart was about to explode from relief. Anyway, he placed the chocolate in the fridge, and with one last look, he closed it for the night. The scene now shifted to Monday morning at work. In the office, we see Sianho working at his desk. He noticed that Hyesian is working at her usual desk today once again. She was sternly scolding an employee for failing a basic task at work. Sianho thinks she's scary as ever. Then he removed his headphones and glanced down at a bag he brought with him. It contained the chocolate Anna gave him last Saturday. He wonders whether he will get a chance to give this to Hyesian today at the office. Just then Anna appeared behind him, calling out his name from nearby. Dude threw his headphones in shock at once. He held his chest and greeted her with a nod. She asks why he's so jumpy this morning. He comments that she's late today for once. She revealed that she had to go to the bank, so she took the morning off from work. She then asks how was it last Saturday. He becomes confused, and she reminds the item she gave him last Saturday back then. Bro becomes nervous all over again. He doesn't know what to say to her. He then adjusted his glasses, saying he hasn't eaten it yet at all. She asks the reason and whether he wants to savor it for later. With a guilty expression, he affirmed with a nod. She then walked off, saying, it's from a famous bakery, so it's pretty rare around here. Plus, it's a giant dejunga too. Still, there's no point in saving it for too long, so hurry up and eat it before it goes bad. He agreed to it with hesitation. Folks, when Anna gifted the precious chocolate to him last Saturday. She specifically told him not to give it to anyone else at all. Anyway, now as Anna saw Hyzian, she greeted her with a smile. Hyzian seemed stressed this morning. She drank a cup of tea and sighed in exhaustion at her desk. This stress is making her crave for something sweet right now. Just then she saw an employee flexing Dejungu, stating she managed to buy one this morning. Her colleague comments that it looks so good indeed. Seeing all this, tears threatened to fall as Hyzian was the only one who had not tasted Dejungu yet. She's curious what it tastes like for herself. She had checked every single dessert shop on her way to work and still couldn't find one anywhere. Just then she heard a familiar voice nearby. It was Seonho, standing there while hiding the bag behind him. She muttered his name in confusion and held the bag towards her with curiosity. She asked what it is, and he opened it, revealing the Dejungu inside. She instantly salivated by the precious sight before her. Seonho blushed as she excitedly asked whether he's giving this precious thing to her right now. Meanwhile, Anna happened to pass by, completely unaware that Seonho was giving Hyzian the precious gift she had gifted that day to him. Seonho noticed Anna walking nearby. She turned toward him at once. Her gaze shifted from Seonho to the bag in his hand, and a look of curiosity crossed her face for a moment. Bro instantly began panicking inside. Anna was staring curiously, while Hyzian was eager to eat the dessert. However, Seonho quickly hid the bag before Hyzian could even say thank you to him. She's now confused by his reaction. Then she misunderstands, saying, "Don't tell me you were just showing off the whole time?" And just like that, Bro became a guy who flexes his Dejungu at work. The scene now shifted to evening that same day. The office was nearly empty and Hyzian was the only one left inside. Just then she got mail on her computer. It was from Seonho at the office. He had sent the illustration she had asked of a cat promoting Dejungu for the project. Hyzian remarks that it's so cute and that Seonho is a good artist after all. However, she takes another closer look at the drawing on screen. It seems suspiciously familiar to her. Later, the scene shifted to Seonho's apartment that night. His window was slightly opened, and he was vacuuming Mance's fur, which was all over the house again. Just then he received a call on his phone. It was from Hyzian next door. He wonders why she's calling at this hour, and whether it's because of the cat draft he sent earlier today. Anyway, as he answered the phone, she loudly shouts, "Mr. Seonho, the cat is out in your balcony right now. Are you sure it's okay to leave him there?" Hearing this, Seonho is confused for a moment. Then he noticed the gap between the windows beside him. Now he rushed out shouting Mance's name in panic. The little fluffball was staring at something naughty nearby. Seonho shouts at it in alarm. "Hey, what are you doing out here? It's dangerous for you. Get back inside right now. Are you even listening to me at all? Mansu, you're going to end up astray at this rate if you stay out." Just then a female voice asks whether its name is Mansu from next door. Seonho slowly gazed up at the voice, and it was Hyzian, standing in her balcony and cheekily asking whether its name is Mansu after all. Holding the fluffball, he nervously mutters, "Miss Hyzian right now." She then says, "Oh my, seeing how you aren't surprised, I guess you already knew Mr. Seonho all along." Seonho couldn't deny it anymore. And she says, "Well, to be honest, I was half expecting it too since we head home in the same direction anyway. But that cat in the draft you sent me earlier, I knew for sure the moment I saw it that you were the owner of the cat next door to me." Now Seonho realizes that he drew his cat without even realizing what he had done. Hyzian ogles that the cat is so cute in his arms. Just then a realization hit her all at once. She asked whether he was pretending to not know her before. Startled, he denies it being on purpose at all. He reveals that he thought she might feel uncomfortable about it. Confused, she asks why would she feel uncomfortable with him? He replies that home is supposed to be her private place, unlike the work environment. Hearing this, she replies, "So you thought it might feel like an invasion of privacy to me? Are you worried about blurring the line between our private and public lives together? Do I look like the kind of person who would let that happen to you?" Then she pouts saying, "Ah, you pretended not to know because you thought it would be annoying, right for you?" Seonho profusely denies the allegations with both hands. Anyway, now she asks the important question at last. The cat was licking its tongue, staring at her naughty body from nearby. With a gentle smile, she asks, "Do you not like it either?" "I like it though, having you live so close by to me." This made him blush deeply. Then she says, "Oh, now that I think about it, this is my first time seeing you without your glasses, Mr. Seonho up close. This made him super embarrassed, and he quickly bowed and rushed inside saying, "Ah, look at the time, good night, let's go Monsoon inside." However, she shouts that she wants to talk a little more with him, but he just says good night, and the fluff ball waved at her from his arms. Once Seonho closed the curtain, he recalled her words, whether he's worried about blurring the line between their private and public life together. However, he now mutters that she's wrong about him. It's just that he's not confident himself around her. Just then, his bell rang at the door. Seonho opened his door and found a box delivered to him from outside. I think it's some ingredients he bought online earlier. Meanwhile, at Hyzian Place, she drank a can of beer alone. Remembering his face without the glasses, she admits that he actually looks pretty cute and nice without his glasses after all. The scene now shifted to the next day in the morning. Seonho left his apartment early in the morning before work that he stretched his arms, feeling quite tired already. Just then, Hyzian asks whether he goes to work this early every day that he freezed in confusion for a moment. Then he became startled, shouting her name in surprise. She flinched, saying, "Why are you so surprised to see me? Don't tell me you left this early just to avoid me again," that he quickly denies the allegations with a shake of his head. Then, he changed the subject, asking what she's doing out here so early in the morning. She reveals that she goes for a run every morning before work. Seonho is impressed by this habit that he inwardly says that it's expected of the ultimate master of self-care like her. Hyzian then goes to ask whether they should run together daily morning, but Seonho quickly rejects it, saying that breathing is the only exercise he can handle right now. Hyzian then says, since it's still early, how about we get some blood sausage soup before work? But Seonho rejects that also, saying he has to get to the office early to finish yesterday's work first. Then as he leaves, she realizes he's putting up a huge wall around himself. Then she got a sinister idea in her mind. She cheekily says, "All right, we have to go work outside later today. We have a meeting with the video editing company this afternoon." Seonho reluctantly agrees to meet up with her. She waves at him, saying, "Then I'll wash up and head straight to work. See you at the office later." Now Bro inwardly laments that he's going to work overtime once again. Later, the scene shifted to a different building across town. In a meeting room, 3 employees were gathered around a table. An elderly man was advising them about an angle in the editing process. Seonho was concentrating hard on every detail. Once the meeting ends, they both left the building together at last. Hyzian stretched her body and asks how it was, as this was his first meeting outside the office like this. He hesitantly replies that it was not bad at all. However, he inwardly fumed that it's so exhausting and he wants to head back to the office already right away. Hyzian then checked her watch and says, "I'm hungry already. I was hoping we could grab lunch together, but I have another meeting right after this one. Are you heading back to the office now?" It's not related to the task force, though this time. This made Seonho feel happy, as he's finally going to be free from her for a while. However, she says, "Of course, I'd be happy if you came with me, Mr. Seonho too." Bro instantly became dull once again. He reluctantly agrees, and she excitedly thanks him with a smile. Later that day, an incident took place at their meeting location. He got to see the real Hyzian at work for once. A man threw a coffee and shouted, "I told you I don't need this kind of coffee at all. I have nothing else to say to you people. You scammers and frauds." Hyzian pleads him to listen for a moment, but he had enough of it and went to bitch slap her, shouting at her to get lost from here. She narrowed her eyes, but then to her surprise, someone stepped in front of her at once. It was Seonho standing there. Seeing this, the man shouts, "What the hell? Who are you supposed to be? Want to fight me or something right now?" Meanwhile, Seonho is anxious as hell. His body has moved on its own and wonders why he's even doing this in the first place. Hyzian in surprise called out Seonho's name behind him. Bro has already sunk too deep into this problem, so he has no choice but to see through this until the end. He then says to the dude, "Take it easy. Let's talk this out like adults." However, the man furiously shouts, and Bro gets scared, wondering whether he's going to hit him next. However, a woman pulled the fellow by the ear, surprising everyone around them. It was the mother of that man standing nearby. She asked whether this is the way to treat their clients who came here. She then apologized to team leader Choi and then shouted at her son, asking whether is this the way she raised him and demands him to go apologize to them right now. The dude then half-heartedly apologized with a bow. However, he glared at Seonho and shrugged off the apology without much care. His mother then smacked him to do it properly this time. The guy finally apologized for his behavior. Anyway, since they have come all this way, the woman now invites them to have tea inside. Now inside, the woman arranged the cup of teas and says to Hyzian, "I'll be honest with you. We agreed to supply our inventory because we trusted you, team leader Choi. But the minute our sales disappointed you, you pulled the promotion without warning." Hyzian then bowed deeply and apologized to her, while Seonho just sat there like a fool in silence. The woman crossed her arms, saying, "I'm willing to put my trust in you one last time, team leader Choi. So please talk to your marketing department and get the promotion up and running again starting next week without fail." Hyzian lowered her head and replied, "Yes, thanks you so much. I'll personally oversee the campaign from now on, so nothing like this ever happens again under my watch." Meanwhile, Seonho inwardly saying, Hyzian is already swamped, and she's adding this on top of it too. The woman is satisfied by Hyzian's words and praised her for having a real grit and determination. Then she glanced at Seonho and says, "Besides, the guy you brought along has plenty of fire in him." "How as well?" Sweating cold, Hyzian nudged his arm and Bro quickly bowed and apologized to the woman. Later when they left, Bro was drained completely. He laments that he should have stayed in the office, since the outside world is terrifying for him. Hyzian apologizes to him that a screw-up on the product team's side shouldn't have forced him to bow his head like that in front of them. Seonho just replies that it's totally fine with him. Hyzian then says she's normally pretty easygoing, actually most of the time. She was a lot more upset than I thought she'd be today about the promotion. Meanwhile, Seonho remembering that woman, he couldn't believe what Hyzian is saying at all. Hyzian then thanks him for having her back earlier. She playfully smiled that he totally looked like a guard protecting her. Seonho awkwardly laughs, while inwardly remembering that his soul almost left for a second back there. Anyway, now Hyzian exclaimed, "Wow, I'm starving right now. Want to grab something to eat together? My treat today. What are you in the mood for right now?" Meanwhile, seeing her cheerful behavior, he inwardly says, "I don't get it at all. I have only ever seen her in the office until now, so I didn't know this side of her at all. After everything we just dealt with, how is she still this cheerful right now?" The scene now shifted to later that afternoon. She had bought donuts for them to eat together. She was focused on her work, and he reminds her to eat the donut. She tells him to eat first, and that she has some work to finish first. Seeing her hard work, he remembers her working even during the ride here earlier. He wonders, does she even take a break sometimes? How does someone even work that hard every day? Meanwhile, Hyzian sighed in exhaustion and pointed to the donut, asking whether it's hers on the table. He affirmed, and she began gobbling it up hastily right away. Seeing this, Seonho worriedly warns her to eat slowly at least. Just then she received a call on her phone. She's supposed to meet her lackeys, so she began packing her items while telling Seonho to head back to the office and call it a day for today. He asks what about her then, and she replies that unfortunately, she just got pulled into a pretty intense sales meeting at the last minute again. Surprised, he asks, "Isn't it already after work hours now?" She stood up saying, "I know, right? Talk about bad timing again. Still, it's close by, so it could have been worse for me. Anyway, thanks for coming with me today, Mr. Seonho. You were super reassuring out there. Get home safe tonight." Just as she creaked open the door to leave, Seonho glanced down at the bag resting on the chair beside him. He then tells her that he's going to stay behind and work here for a while longer. Hyzian looked back curiously, and he tells her to not worry about it at all. Then she bids farewell and finally left the cafe alone. Meanwhile, Seonho held the bag containing suspicious items and wondered why did he even say that to her. Anyway, the scene now shifted to later that evening. It was night already, but the city was still quite busy around them. Meanwhile, a woman was stumbling through the street alone. It was Hyzian walking home. She was hella drunk by then. In frustration, she grumbles, "Ugh, I think I'm gonna puke right here. I literally told them I don't mix drinks, so why did they keep pouring them for me?" Anyway, she was now passing by the cafe, so she remembered Seonho telling her that he will stay behind and work for a while. Now she peeked into the cafe, muttering that he might have left by now already. Sadly, she was right about that. It was empty inside. She feels a bit down at the sight. Anyway, she composed herself and closed her eyes, saying, "Figures, having a drink always makes me crave something sweet afterward." Suddenly, a man blocked her path, and when she opened her eyes, she was confused for a second. Seonho was standing there like a creep in front of her. Seeing her flushed face, he asks whether she's feeling okay at all. She quickly tried to play it off by saying she's totally fine and perfectly sober right now. However, she ended up hiccuping, and Seonho stared at her, not believing a single word she said. Finally, she drops the lies and asks, "Was it that obvious to you?" He replies that her face is red, and she was kind of wobbling on her feet. Hyzeon covered her face and muttered that she had no idea how obvious it was. Seonho then gives her a hangover medicine from his bag. She's surprised, asking is it for her to take. He stayed silent, so she cheekily asks whether he seriously waited all this time just to give her this medicine. He bluntly admitted it was for her, and this surprised her quite a bit. He adjusted his glasses and then opened the bag which he had brought during the cafe meetup with Hyzeon the previous day. He pulled out a yellow duck lunch bag and offered it to her with care. She curiously gazed down at it, and there were ball-shaped items wrapped, surrounded by ice packs inside the bag. She held one up and wondered whether it's a rice ball or something similar. Seonho just hurried her to open and see for herself. Hyzeon then pulled the string holding it, and then exclaimed in surprise that it's a dejunku after all. With sparkling eyes, she asks how the heck he got something like this for her. Isn't it rare these days? And most of all, he got her 4 of them at once. It's then revealed that the box, which was delivered to him that day, were the ingredients to make the Dubai chocolate at home. Now he scratched his head, revealing that he made it himself from scratch. The store-bought ones are kind of pricey, and good ones are weirdly hard to come by around here. Hyzeon then asks whether he made this just for her alone. He replies, well, they are really good after all. So I figured, why not make some? Oh, and I promise they turned out great this time. They taste just like the ones from the store too. Give it a try for yourself. Hyzeon is still in disbelief at first. Then she quickly guarded the bag, asking whether he's going to tease her, and then take it back again like before. He stutters, saying that's different, and tells her to just eat it already before it gets cold. Then, with saliva dripping down her mouth, she eagerly thanks for the food and took a mouthful bite right away. Seonho gulped in anticipation as he watched. As she began crunching, she exclaimed that it's so delicious indeed. Seonho instantly brightened, and she savored it, saying it's stuffed with kataifi, and the marshmallow is so perfectly chewy and delicious inside. Seeing her happily enjoying it made Seonho feel happy too in return. Later, they traveled home in a taxi because buses don't run at this hour anymore. Inside the car, Seonho glanced down at her lap and saw her holding the bag firmly with both hands. Her head was swaying up and down as she slept beside him. He thought she must be really tired from today. He didn't think he had ever seen her this relaxed at the office before until now. A few days ago, he only thought of her as a cool and capable person at work. But now it felt different somehow. Just then, he noticed her head constantly knocking against the car window beside her. He reached out to her and, with trembling hands, tried to hold her head towards him with care. Her head suddenly plopped onto his shoulder, causing him to shiver in surprise. Holding in his naughty thoughts, he inwardly said, "This wasn't what I meant to happen at all. She's sleeping so peacefully right now. I can't just wake her up now like this. What do I do now?" His heart started beating faster, and as he stared down at her cleavage, he found it difficult to control himself for a moment. Every time she breathed, he could smell the alcohol on her faintly. Honestly, even that smell seemed kind of nice to him somehow. Then he wondered what on earth he was thinking about while sitting right next to her like this. Just then, the traffic light turned red, and the driver slammed on the brakes, causing the car to jolt forward. The driver then apologized for the sudden movement with concern. Hyzeon woke up because of this, and we saw that Seonho had been holding her close to him the whole time. She stared up at him in surprise and muttered his name softly. Seonho stuttered as he tried to explain the situation at once. She glared at him, making him even more nervous than before. Suddenly, he was startled when she covered her mouth, looking like she was about to throw up inside the car at any moment. Seonho quickly begged the driver to pull over right away. After the driver kicked them out, Hyzeon bought a bottle of water from a nearby store and drank it in large gulps. She commented that it was a close call this time. Seonho asked if she was feeling any better now. She playfully gave him a thumbs up, saying that her head felt like it was about to split open from the hangover. Holding his head in frustration, Seonho scolded her for drinking so much despite already having an upset stomach that night. What was even more ridiculous was that she still wanted to buy another can of beer from the convenience store nearby. Hazian squealed like a child being scolded by a teacher in class. Then she suddenly stepped closer and asked, "Ah, what's this now? Are you nagging me right now for my sake? Because you're worried about me that much?" Xianho stood there with a blush on his face and replied that they were just members of the same task force at work. Hearing his answer, she turned away and muttered that he didn't understand why she was acting this way at all. Xianho asked what she meant by that. She clarified that she was talking about how hard she was working these days. She explained, "I had a rough idea about it. People at the company say I'm overdoing it, and there are a lot of people who don't want to get involved with me because of that either. Think about it for a moment. I didn't necessarily have to move my seat next to yours just because we work together on this team. That's why I feel sorry for Miss Anna too as well. I made her walk on eggshells because I unnecessarily changed seats for myself. But this was the only way I could think of at that time. If I do this, I thought maybe I could become someone who is actually needed by others." These words made Xianho remember his own past, as they deeply resonated with him inside. Back then, a girl had abandoned him, saying that she didn't need him anymore because he was useless to her at that moment in her life. Now, Xianho wondered if Hazian felt the same way he did back then too. Was that why she tried so hard to become useful to others around her? Meanwhile, Hazian shrugged it off, saying that it sounded stupid now. She told him that they had arrived and thanked him for carrying her belongings home. She apologized for saying all kinds of things because she was drunk that night. However, Xianho interrupted her before she left. "I need you too." He loudly confessed again with conviction. "I need Miss Hazian in my life." She was surprised by his words once again. He lowered his head and continued, "I'm the kind of person who tends to avoid things on my own. Even when I have an idea or a feeling, I don't have the courage to act on it most times. Taking care of myself is already more than enough for me. But being with you, Miss Hazian, I feel like I have started to change little by little inside. That's why I need someone like you, Miss Hazian, beside me." Then he was startled when she cheekily stepped closer and asked, "Are you sure it's not just because I'm someone important at work?" Xianho became embarrassed and pleaded with her to forget what he had said just now. She grinned and said she was only joking with him. Then she waved goodbye, thanking him for today with a smile. The next day at the office, it was already 11:38 p.m. Hazian still hadn't arrived at her desk. Staring at her empty desk, Xianho wondered if she was working outside again that night. Just then, a woman tapped him on the shoulder from behind. It was Hazian standing there. She asked him to join her for some hangover soup before work. Anna greeted her, while Xianho asked why he needed hangover soup when he hadn't even drunk anything last night. However, Hazian ignored his words and acted as if he had already agreed to join her anyway. Anna quickly turned away, breaking into a cold sweat because she didn't want to get dragged into it again. But unfortunately for her, Hazian asked her to join them as well for lunch. Right on cue, the others appeared and asked Hazian to have lunch with them too. She was delighted and opened her arms, inviting everyone to eat together at once. Later at a pork soup restaurant, they had already ordered their food for lunch. As usual, Anna sat next to her crush, while Xianho sat opposite Hazian across the table. The guys talked about the new hiring for the design team at work. Apparently, the design team's workload had increased dramatically, and one of their members happened to be on maternity leave, meaning they had an opening right now. Hearing this, Anna cried out, "If that's the case, they should just take us back instead. They were the ones who sent us here in the first place. We're part of the design team too after all." Just then, Hazian slammed her hand on the table, strongly opposing the idea at once. She firmly declared, "Xianho is mine, I will protect him from them." This sudden confession left everyone staring at her in stunned silence for a moment. She quickly clarified, "He's the only member of my task force, so I absolutely cannot let him go right now." The others awkwardly chuckled as the misunderstanding was cleared up between them. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to the design team hiring interview that same day. The interviewer was impressed by the applicant's portfolio right away. Then we saw a woman smirking to herself. When the interviewer called her name, Ms. Baek Yun, it seemed that this woman might be the one who abandoned Xianho in the past long ago. The scene then returned to Hazian at the restaurant. She wore an intensely focused expression, while the other employees exchanged nervous glances, cold sweat running down their faces in silence. Anna gulped in anticipation, while Xianho simply stood there like a fool beside them. Then came the moment of truth at last. Everyone played rock, paper, scissors together. The others all threw rock, while Hazion threw scissors once again. Her expression immediately turned gloomy after losing the round. While everyone else celebrated their victory, Hazion glared at them with trembling hands, frustrated that she had lost yet again in a row. Defeated, she nervously asked what everyone wanted to drink. The two guys ordered the most expensive drink on the menu, a large iced Americano each. Anna ordered a hot vanilla latte for herself. Hazion then turned to Seonho and asked what he wanted to drink. That he replied that he would like a hot chamomile tea, please. Hazion told everyone to go find a table while she picked up the drinks herself. Seonho asked if she needed any help, but she shook her head at him. The others thanked her and left it to her without complaint. As they walked away, one of the colleagues wondered aloud why Hazion always threw scissors every time. That was when Seonho finally realized why everyone had suggested that he throw rock beforehand. Just then, Anna called out to him, asking if he had tried the dujongguk she had given him yet. She asked how it was, but paused when she noticed Seonho staring off into the distance again. His eyes were fixed on Hazion near the counter. Anna called his name again, snapping him back to reality at once. He quickly apologized and asked what she had said just then. She simply smiled and decided to forget about it for now. Suddenly, Seonho turned around and ran towards the cafe, saying, "Actually, I kind of want something cold now. I'm going to change my order real quick instead. You guys head up first without me." Poor Anna could only watch as her crush ran straight toward Hazion again. Hearing hurried footsteps behind her, Hazion turned around, surprised to see Seonho running over. As he caught his breath, she asked what he was doing there all of a sudden. He replied that he wanted to help her carry the drinks back upstairs. With a faint blush, she asked what he had told everyone else about this. He admitted that he said he was changing his order for a drink. Resting a hand on her hip, Hazion pointed out that she had already ordered everything for everyone. "So, now what do you want?" Seonho scratched the back of his head and awkwardly replied that anything was fine with him. Just then, the employee handed over the drinks they had ordered. Hazion inserted the straw into one of the cups and suddenly pushed it towards Seonho's mouth, telling him to take a sip after running all the way over to her. He took a sip and thanked her with a nod. She asked if he felt better now after that. With a refreshed smile, he admitted that he did feel better. Then she took the drink back from him without warning. Confused, Seonho asked whose drink it was anyway. A second later, he froze as he watched her drink from the very same straw he had used. Ro was completely flustered by her boldness right in front of him. She simply told him to relax, revealing it's hers to begin with. She then asked if they should head back upstairs. He quietly agreed with her. As they walked, Seonho couldn't stop staring at the straw, wondering if she genuinely wasn't bothered by sharing it with him at all. Suddenly, Hazion stopped walking near the elevator. Turning toward him, she said she wanted to ask him something important. Seonho gulped as he waited for her question with tension. She pointed at the menu and commented that it said the chamomile tea was one of the cafe's specialties on the list. But what makes it so special anyway? Holding his drink, Seonho honestly admitted that he had no idea either. Then, after a brief hesitation, he asked if she wanted to try some herself. She happily thanked him, saying it was only fair since she had let him try her drink first. She brought the cup to her lips and took a sip from it. Her lips touched the very cup Seonho would be drinking from moments later again. Watching this, Seonho couldn't help but feel flustered, thinking he had just scored an indirect kiss with her. However, Hazion immediately made a disgusted face at the taste. She complained that it just tasted like ordinary chamomile tea to her. Seonho asked if that was really true, because he thought it had quite a pleasant aroma himself. In the end, Hazion decided to stick with her iced Americano instead. Once they reached their company floor, they stepped out of the elevator together. Seonho suggested that she try adding honey next time to improve it. Hazion immediately gave the idea a hard pass without hesitation. Meanwhile, upstairs in the conference room, the interviewer thanked Baek Yeon for coming today and told her they would be in touch soon about the position. She politely thanked them and left the room. As she walked down the stairs, she spoke to someone through her earbud in secret. She mentioned that she had just finished her interview and couldn't talk for long since she was still inside the building right now. She also added that it wasn't like she was dying to get the job anyway in the first place. Just then, loud laughter echoed up from below the stairs. Curious, she looked down from the stairs. It was Seonho smiling brightly below her. Her eyes widened in shock at the sight. She had never seen him laughing so happily with another woman before. Yeon quietly muttered, "So, he can make a face like that after all." She then apologized to the person on the call, saying, "I just saw something interesting down there. And now that I think about it, maybe I do want this job after all this time." She ended the call, saying she'd ring back once she got home later. Staring at the two from above, Baek-yeon softly muttered, "Long time no see, Seonho Appa after all these years." Later, we see Hyezeon and Seonho discussing the Insta-tune together. After they went home, Hyezeon drew a cute-looking Mansu in her sketchbook. She was finally proud of her result for once. Meanwhile, Seonho was addicted to his PlayStation when he noticed Hyezeon cheerfully waving around the sketchbook next door. However, he couldn't see what was inside from that distance and wondered what she was really drawing over there. Anyway, he just waved back at her with a smile from his room. The next day, as the going well, Seonho kept secretly glancing at Hyezeon's cheerful expression throughout the day. Once he got home, he tried playing with his cat, using a bait attached to a fishing rod for fun. However, the cat simply stood there, making him look like a fool once again. Mansa glared at him menacingly, completely uninterested in this nonsense at all. Confused, Seonho asked whether he was bored now too. Mansa walked up to the window and signaled that he wanted to see outside again. Seonho then slid open the balcony door for him. Just then, he heard something from outside. It was Hyezeon calling out his name next door. Right away, Mansa zoomed towards the balcony, excited to see the hot chick again so soon. Seonho quickly grabbed the fluff ball and asked why Hyezeon was outside at night alone. She cheerfully greeted the fluff ball and revealed that she was in a good mood because the Insta-tune went well today. Holding a beer, she asked whether he wanted to drink too with her. Then she threw it towards his balcony and praised him for the catch with a smile. She winked, suggesting that they should make a toast together. Seonho agreed and tried to open the can at once. However, in the next moment, the beer burst all over his face without warning. Because when Hyezeon threw it, the pressure inside suddenly dropped, causing the gas to rush out and carry the liquid with it at once. Now seeing him covered in beer, she awkwardly apologized to him. Anyway, as the streetlight illuminated the lane, Hyezeon drank her beer while Seonho wiped his face with his sleeve. She then asked how he had been doing these days at work. Seonho stuttered, and she asked whether it was still awkward around her these days. He replied no, so she asked why he was acting like this then. Seonho was still confused and asked what she was talking about exactly. She shouted, asking why he wouldn't invite her over to his place. Startled, he asked, "Invite her where exactly?" She glared at him, saying it was obviously to his place, and that she was literally right in front of him already. She also wanted to pet Mansu, wondering how that black ball of fur felt up close. Seonho just stood there, not knowing how to respond to her. Because every time he started getting comfortable around her, she always made these kinds of jokes with him. Right then, his doorbell rang inside. Hyezeon asked whether someone was there at his door. Seonho confirmed it, revealing that he had ordered food because he hadn't eaten dinner yet tonight. Hyezeon instantly salivated, asking what he ordered, and saying that she hadn't eaten dinner either yet. However, Seonho knew she was lying, because he had already seen her eat a sandwich before leaving work that evening. Now sweating cold, he muttered that he ordered chicken for dinner. She asked whether it was seasoned fried chicken, and he revealed that it was oven-roasted chicken instead. She asked about the spicy sauce, and he said he had added it too. She excitedly said, "Then we're good to go. We have drinks, so chicken is perfect for tonight." Seonho stuttered, asking what she meant by perfect for them. She did a cute pose and asked whether he wanted to eat together with her. Seonho just stood there, wondering whether she was joking again. Was she starting to enjoy teasing him this much? Clenching his teeth, he decided to go along with it this time for once. He turned away, saying he was going inside now and that she could come over if she wanted some chicken. He then closed the balcony door and paused for a moment inside. Staring at the beer she gave him, he thought she looked genuinely hungry tonight. He wondered whether he should send her a voucher since she gave him a beer earlier. He then glanced towards the balcony, noticing that it was empty again. He wondered whether she was sulking over this somewhere. Meanwhile, Mansu tried to reach above the table where the delicious roasted chicken was sitting. Seonho scolded the poor fluffball, saying he wasn't allowed to eat this yet. Seonho was now excitedly about to dig in himself. However, his doorbell startled him again. He nervously stared at his doorway as the bell kept ringing nonstop, like some lunatic was spamming it from outside. Sweating cold, Seonho slowly opened the door, fearing it might be who he thought it was already. And he was right after all. It was Hyzian standing there. Still wearing a revealing outfit, she cheekily greeted him with a smile. Seonho shouted her name in surprise at once. She lifted the bag she was holding and said, "What, did you think I couldn't come over here? You're not going to slam the door in my face, are you now? I even brought more drinks, for us." Seonho stared at her while she wore a cheeky expression before him. Then he shut the door on her, completely catching her off guard, as he seriously slammed the door in her face without hesitation.